Good morning, Grow Up Kids. You may notice that my setting that I'm in looks very different today. It's not a classroom, it's not a couch, I'm not outdoors. I'm in my kitchen. And well, that's because we're going to be talking about fruit today. So, what better place to talk about fruit than right inside my own kitchen? But first, we're going to jump right into worship, so I'll see you right after.
To something good. I know that you are always up to something good. You'll make a way, whatever it takes. There's nothing your love won't endure. I know that you are always up to something good. Something good. Through the darkest night, you are on my side. You were always faithful. Through my fear and doubt, you will lead me out. You were always able. Through the darkest night, you are on my side. You were always faithful. Through my fear and doubt, you will lead me out. I know that you are always up to something good. I know that you are always up to something good. You'll make a way, whatever it takes. There's nothing your love won't endure. I know that you are always up to something good. You'll make a way, whatever it takes. There's nothing your love won't endure. I know that you are always up to something good.
Wow, guys, that was such amazing worship. I wish we could worship even longer, but it's time to jump into our lesson, which today we're going to be learning about fruit of the Spirit. Well, who thought that spirit had fruit? I mean, what's a spirit and what does fruit have to do with it? That just doesn't seem like a combination that even makes sense. But it does. You see, in the Bible, in a book called Galatians, it tells us all about it. But today we're going to jump into what exactly it is. So, some of us might know what a spirit is, but basically, spirit is what's inside of you. Whenever people say you have a good spirit, it means because you're happy. Or whenever people saying that you're being angry and mean, well, maybe that means your spirit just isn't sitting so right that day. But God tells us just exactly how our spirit should always be. And in the way that He says it is by fruit. And so think about it like this. Fruit is usually good It usually tastes good, it's delicious, and you just keep wanting more of it because there's sugar inside of it, it's sweet, and it's good for our bodies. Just the same ways that these different labels that we're going to talk about are good for your spirit. So, we have lots of fruit. To be exact, there's 9 of them. First, we have a mango, which is going to represent goodness today. So God tells us that in our spirit we should always have goodness. We should always be kind, good to others by doing things that are not bad. And so whenever we want to break a rule, we shouldn't, because ultimately we have to practice the fruit of the Spirit, goodness, and always be good and make the right decisions. Next, kind of goes hand in hand with it, but my banana here, which represents kindness. Goodness and kindness, what's the difference? Well, think about this as being good or bad, and this as being kind or mean. So we want to be good, and we also want to be kind. So whenever we see a friend who's on the sidewalk and has fallen and might need some help, it's our job to do the right thing and be kind and help them get up, because that's the fruit of the Spirit that Jesus has given us. Next, let's talk about my green apple here. Peace. We should never be the ones to stir up trouble inside of our homes, our friendships, or anywhere. We should be the ones to bring peace, or another word for peace is calmness, as I like to think about it. We should always be the people bringing calmness to situations. Next, we have my friend orange, joy. Because we should always be happy. We should never have a time when we're sad or upset. Although these things do happen, God tells us that He gives us His joy. And because of that, we always have a reason to be happy because we know that He loves us. Next, let's talk about my strawberries here, which represent self-control. This one is a hard one. You know when there's pizza sitting right in front of you and you're not supposed to have a slice yet, but everything inside you says, I just need that pizza, but you can't? That's when we're practicing self-control. And so when we want to do things that we know that we shouldn't, we have to remind ourselves that we have to control ourselves. And we know that we can do this because God has given us the strength to. Next, we have my tomato, which some people don't think this is a fruit, some think it's a vegetable, but I ran out of fruit, so we're going to say that this is a fruit for the sake of argument. And it represents faithfulness. So no matter what, our faith should always be in God. No matter the bad, the good, whatever is going on in our lives, we should always remain faithful. Next, we have, well, this is a big one. We hear this all the time at Get Wrapped Church. My red apple, love. We should always love no matter what. No matter what's going on, you need to find the love inside of your heart to pour out to other people around us. Inside of our house, at our schools, at our church, anywhere. Our first job is to make Christ known by the way that we love. Next, we have another argument, fruit. Some people say this is a fruit, some say it's a vegetable, but my avocado representing patience. So, whenever we feel like we want things right away, but we can't have it right then and there, like my LOL doll that I just saw at the store, and it's a big sister and I need it right now, well, I can't have it right now because I have to practice my fruit patience. And maybe in the future, I'll be able to have that thing. Now let's talk about my friend, my blueberries, gentleness. No matter what, we shouldn't be harsh with our friends. We should always be gentle with our words. So let's say that a friend has made a mistake and you say, oh my God, you're such a loser, you made a huge mistake. Well, that's not being very gentle. Instead, you should say, hey, so I noticed you're struggling with something. Is there any way that I can help you? And that's a way that we can practice gentleness. Now, I know some of us have heard of fruits of the Spirit before, but what I want you to do, instead of focusing on which one that you need to work on, which, while that's important, I want you to focus on on all of the fruit of the Spirit that you feel that you're strong in, and I want you to work on those even more because God has given you a special gift. You see, even me as an adult, I struggle with practicing some of these. Sometimes I'm not very kind, and sometimes I am not patient at all. But because of God, I have the ability to practice these things, and I'm able to become more kind, and I'm able to become more patient because of the strength that God has given me. But this week, I want you to focus on what you're strong in. So if you're kind, be the most kindest person you could ever be to your family. If you're super patient, teach your siblings how to be patient. And if you have extreme self-control, you'll help your friends practice their self-control so that they can gain those strengths too. But for our challenge of the week, what I want you to do is, I gave a hint of where you can read all about these fruit of the Spirit. Well, I'll go ahead and just tell you, just to make this a little easier. It's going to be in the book Galatians. And what I want you to do is find the exact verse where it talks about the fruit of the Spirit in the book Galatians. It's in the Bible. So just open your Bible, grab a friend or a parent to help you, find the book Galatians and the verse where we can read more about all of the fruit of the Spirit. And I want you to tell me what you learned from the Bible from your own words. There's no right or wrong answer, so don't feel like this is a test or anything. I just want to see what God is speaking to you. But that is it for our lesson today. I hope you all are having a great weekend, and I can't wait to see you again. Bye, guys.